Here we meet again, dear students, in this new lesson in the series of English lessons on the أونروا Satellite TV channel. ها نحن نلتقي مجددا أعزائي الطلاب في هذا الدرس الجديد من سلسلة دروس اللغة الإنجليزية على قناتكم قناة الأونروا الفضائية. Welcome back. Dear students, in the previous lessons we talked about passive voice 1 and passive voice 2. In today's lesson, inshallah, we are going to talk about passive voice 3. So, today we are going to talk about the passive voice. We are going to revise some important points in passive voice 1 and passive voice 2, and we are going to handle some important points about passive voice 3. So here, let's look at the general structure of the passive voice. لننظر إلى التركيب العام للمبني للمجهول. Here we have a subject plus verb to be plus main verb in the past participle. Again, the general structure of the passive voice, subject plus verb to be plus main verb in the past participle. All right, here, how to change an active sentence into a passive one. How to change an active sentence into a passive one. In the previous lessons about passive voice 1 and passive voice 2, we talked about the steps of changing a sentence from active voice to passive voice. Let's quickly revise all of them. Here's step number 1. The object of a sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. Again, the object of a sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. المفعول به للجملة في المبني للمعلوم يصبح الفاعل في جملة المبني للمجهول. Okay, step number 2. We use a form of verb to be. We use a form of verb to be. Here, even is or are in the present, even is or are in the present, was or were in the past, or we can use been or being. Again, we use a form of verb to be, is, are in the present, was, were in the past, been or being. Of course, been for the perfect tenses, being for the continuous tenses. Step number 3, we use the main verb in the past participle. Step number 3, we use the main verb in the past participle. نستخدم الفعل الأساسي في التصريف الثالث. Alright, let's have this example. We study English. Look at this sentence. We study English. Here is the subject, the verb, and the object. Look at the object of the sentence, English. This is the object. According to the first step, this object is needed to be the subject of the passive sentence. So here, English as a subject, English here is, because English is singular and study is in the present. الفاعل English هي مفرد، الفعل study في المضارع، لذلك استخدمنا الفعل المساعد is. The third step is to use the past participle of the main verb. English is studied. Studied is the past form of study. English is studied by us. We said that if the doer of the action is important, we use by plus the subject. Now, dear students, after we have revised the important points of changing a sentence from active to passive, let's have this short break. Then after the break, we start our new lesson about passive voice 3. A short break, then we get back. Welcome back. Now, dear students, let's start our lesson about passive voice with the present perfect tense. The first thing we are going to talk about in our lesson is passive voice in the present perfect tense. المبني للمجهول في زمن المضارع التام. All right. The structure of the passive voice in the present perfect. The structure of the passive voice in the present perfect. تركيب المبني للمجهول في زمن المضارع التام. All right. Look here. Subject plus has or have plus been plus main verb in the past participle. Again, subject plus has or have. Of course, has is used when the subject is singular. تستخدم الفعل المساعد has عندما يكون الفاعل مفردا. But have is used when the subject is plural. عندما يكون الفاعل جمعا نستخدم الفعل المساعد have. Plus been plus main verb in the past participle. Okay, let's look here at this example. 1. My dad has planted a tree. Look again. My dad has planted a tree. My dad is the subject. Has planted is the verb. A tree is the object. Look at the verb here, has planted. Has planted is in the present perfect tense. هذه الجملة في زمن المضارع التام. Why? Because here we have has plus the past participle. Let's see how can we change this sentence from active to passive. Look here. A tree, which was the object of the first sentence, المفعول به للجملة الأولى، أصبح الفاعل للجملة الثانية. A tree has been planted by my dad. Again, a tree has been planted by my dad. What have we done here? Here is the object has become the new subject. المفعول به أصبح الفاعل الجديد. A tree is singular. شجرة واحدة وهي مفرد. So that we used has. Has. After has, we used been. And after been, we used the past participle of the main verb, which is planted. Again, a tree has been planted by my dad. All right. Here, the second example. Ali has painted the rooms. Ali has painted the rooms. Let's see how we can change this sentence from active to passive. Look here. The rooms, الغرف, and this subject is a plural. هذا الفاعل هو فاعل جمع. The rooms have. The rooms have. Why have? Because the subject is a plural. The rooms have. After have, we should use been. The rooms have been. After been, of course, the past participle of the main verb, which is painted by Ali. Let's read the sentence again. The rooms have been painted by Ali. Let's read the sentence for the last time. The rooms have been painted by Ali. All right, now let's practice what we have talked about regarding the passive voice in the present perfect tense. Choose the correct answer. اختر الإجابة الصحيحة. Number 1, the homework has done. The homework has done. Is it has been done, has been done, or has being done? Thank you very much. Excellent. It's has been done because the general structure of the passive voice in the present perfect tense, has or have, plus been, plus the past participle of the main verb. Let's read the sentence for the last time. The homework has been done. The homework has been done. All right. Let's look at number 2. The two roses been picked. Again, the two roses been picked. Is it the two roses has, the two roses is, or the two roses have? Here we have two roses, not one rose. So, the two roses have. Excellent. The two roses have been picked. Why have? Because the subject is a plural, not singular. Okay. Number 3, the cup has been. Again, the cup has been. Is it has been broken, has been break, or has been broke? Excellent, thank you very much. It has been broken. So, the cup has been broken. Has been plus the past participle of the main verb. Let's read the sentence for the last time. The cup has been broken. Okay, dear students, now after we have explained about the passive voice in the present perfect tense, let's have another short break. Then after the break, we continue our activities about passive voice 3. A short break, then we get back. Welcome back. Now, dear students, after we have explained about the passive voice in the present perfect, Now it's the time to talk about passive voice in the past perfect tense. So here in this part, passive voice with past perfect tense. المبني للمجهول مع زمن الماضي التام. Let's look at the structure of the passive voice in the past perfect. Structure of passive voice in the past perfect. Look here, subject plus had plus been plus past participle of the main verb. Again, subject plus had plus been plus main verb in the past participle. All right, look at this example. He had written a letter. Again, he had written a letter. Let's change the sentence from active to passive. Look here, a letter had been written by him. Again, a letter had been written by him. Where is the object of the first sentence? أين المفعول به في الجملة الأولى? Here, he, the subject, had written the verb. A letter is the object. So, المفعول به للجملة الأولى a letter. According to the first step, the object should become the subject of the new sentence. المفعول به للجملة الأولى يجب أن يصبح الفاعل للجملة الثانية. So here, in passive voice with past perfect, في المبني للمجهول في زمن الماضي التام, it's not necessary to look at the subject whether it's singular or plural. ليس من الضروري أن نتأكد من الفاعل إذا ما كان مفردا أم جمع. Why? لأنه يمكننا أن نستخدم had مع الفاعل المفرد والفاعل الجمع. So here, a letter had been written by him. So, the general structure of the passive voice in the past perfect, had plus been plus the past participle. Had been written by him. Okay, let's look at the second example. We had seen some animals. We had seen some animals. Look at the passive sentence. Some animals, بعض الحيوانات. This was the object of the first sentence. But here, it's the subject of the new sentence. Some animals had been seen by us. Some animals had been seen by us. Okay, change into passive. Now let's practice what we have talked about. Change into passive. حول إلى المبني للمجهول. Number one, we had spoken English. Again, we had spoken English. Where is the object of this sentence? أين المفعول به في هذه الجملة? Excellent, it's English. So here, English had been spoken by us. English had been spoken by us. Okay, let's move to sentence number two. I'd read many stories. I'd, it's an abbreviation or a short form of I had. I had. So here, I had read many stories. Of course, read is the past form of read. Read, read, read. So here, I had read many stories. Let's change the sentence into passive. Where is the object of this sentence? أين المفعول به لهذه الجملة? Many stories. So here, the passive sentence should be many stories, العديد من القصص, had been read by me. Again, many stories had been read by me. All right, now dear students, another short break. Then after the break, we continue our activities about passive voice part 3. Another short break, then we get back. Welcome back. So far, dear students, we have talked about passive voice in the present perfect tense and in the past perfect tense. Now, it's the time to talk about passive voice with modal verbs. So here, passive voice with modal verbs. المبني للمجهول مع الأفعال الناقصة. First of all, let's look at what are modal verbs. ما هي الأفعال الناقصة? Let's look here. Modal verbs, الأفعال الناقصة, are the verbs that have only the first and the second form of the verb. الأفعال الناقصة هي الأفعال التي لا تقبل أكثر من التصريف الأول والتصريف الثاني. Here we have the first form is in the present and the second form is in the past. So that we call them أفعال ناقصة. إذن لماذا سميناها أفعال الناقصة؟ لأنها لا تقبل أي تصريف ثالث أو رابع. Okay, let's look at the modal verbs here. In the present we have can, could in the past. Can, could. Shall, should. Will, would. May, might. Must, ought to. Again, can, could. Shall, should. Will, would. May, might. Must, ought to. These modal verbs all the time are followed by infinitive. The modal verbs are followed by infinitive in all the cases. تلحق الأفعال الناقصة بالمصدر في جميع الحالات. Alright, let's look at the structure of the passive voice with modal verbs. الشكل العام أو التركيب العام للمبني للمجهول مع الأفعال الناقصة. Subject plus a modal verb, subject plus a modal verb plus be plus main verb in the past participle. Again, subject الفاعل plus a modal verb plus be, and take care, be not been, okay, or been. Subject plus modal verb plus be plus main verb in the past participle. Let's have some examples. Example number 1, we should recycle the used materials. Look at the sentence again. We should recycle the used materials. Look at the modal verb should here. It's followed by the infinitive. Should is followed by the infinitive recycle. Let's look how we can change this sentence from active to passive. Okay, we should recycle the used materials. Here the used materials is the object of this sentence. المفعول به لهذه الجملة هو the used materials, المواد المستخدمة. To change this sentence into passive, we should start with the object. يجب أن نبدأ بالمفعول به كفاعل جديد. So here, the used materials, المواد المستخدمة, should here in the first sentence should be used in the second sentence the passive as it is. Alright? The used materials should. Again, after modal verbs comes the infinitive all the time. Because it's a must to use a verb of verb to be, a helping verb of to be, we used be as the infinitive after should. And after be, we used the main verb in the past participle. استخدمنا be كمصدر بعد should، وبعد الفعل المساعد be استخدمنا الفعل الأساسي في التصريف الثالث. Now let's read the sentence again. The used materials should be recycled. Again, the used materials should be recycled. After should comes what? Comes the infinitive be, and after be comes the third form of the main verb. Let's look at another example. You must obey your parents. Again, you must obey your parents. Here, where is the object of this sentence? Your parents. All right? So here, your parents must, your parents must. What comes after must? Must is a modal verb. After modal verbs comes the infinitive. All right? After modal verbs comes the infinitive. So here, your parents must be. Be is the infinitive of the verb to be. All right? What comes after be? Comes the main verb in the past participle. الفعل الأساسي في التصريف الثالث. Now let's read the sentence. Your parents must be obeyed. Your parents must be obeyed. All right, now let's practice what we have talked about regarding passive voice with modal verbs. Choose the correct answer. اختر الإجابة الصحيحة. Number 1, the tree must being cut, or must be cutting, or must be cut. Excellent, thank you very much. It's must be cut. Why must be cut? Because after must should come be, and after be is the third form of the verb. So here, must be cut. Cut here, by the way, is the third form of the past participle of cut, because cut is an irregular verb. Cut, cut, cut. So this is the third form of the verb cut. Let's read the sentence for the last time. The tree must be cut. The tree must be cut. Okay. 2. The letters will be written, or will be wrote, or will be right. Thank you very much. Here, the letters will be written. Will be written. The letters will be written. After will, as a modal verb, comes be, and after be is the third form or the past participle of the main verb. Okay. Change into passive. Change into passive. حول إلى المبني للمجهول. Number 1. Ola has cleaned the room. Ola has cleaned the room. What is the tense of this sentence? ما زمن هذه الجملة؟ Ola has cleaned. Has cleaned is in the present perfect. هذه الجملة في زمن المضارع التام. Because here we have has plus the past participle. Let's change the sentence from active to passive. First of all, where is the object of this sentence? أين المفعول به لهذه الجملة? Ola is the subject, has cleaned is the verb, the room is the object. So here, let's look at the sentence here. The room, الغرفة, this is a singular subject, so that we use has. استخدمنا has. What comes after has and have? Comes been. The room has been. What comes after been? The third form or the past participle of the main verb. التصريف الثالث للفعل الأصلي. The room has been cleaned by Ola. Again, the room has been cleaned by Ola. 2. I'd, which is I had visited these places before. Again, I'd visited these places before. Look at the passive sentence. These places, هذه الأماكن, these places had. Why had? Because the first sentence is in the past perfect. لأن الجملة الأولى في زمن الماضي التام. Why had here? Because had can go with both singular and plural subjects. يمكن أن نستخدم had مع الفاعل المفرد أو الفاعل الجمع. So here, these places had. What comes after had? After had also comes been. What comes after been? The past participle of the main verb. So here, these places had been visited before. Again, these places had been visited before. 3. You should go to school early. You should go to school early. In this sentence, as you see, dear students, we have a modal verb which is should. تحتوي هذه الجملة على فعل ناقص وهو الفعل should. So here, you should go to school early. Okay, let's change this sentence from active to passive. Here, the object of this sentence, school, we should start the sentence with the school. School, المدرسة. Here, as you see, again, we have the modal verb should. We should use this modal verb in the passive voice as it is. So, school should. After modal verbs, we should use be, and after be is the past participle of the main verb. School should be gone to early. Again, school should be gone to early. Here we have the modal verb. After the modal verb, we have be, and after be, the past participle of the main verb. Dear all, here we have come to the end of this lesson. But before I say goodbye, let's revise the important points that we talked about in this lesson. In this lesson, we talked about the passive voice in present perfect, passive voice in past perfect, and passive voice with modal verbs. Dear students, thank you very much for watching us in this lesson. I hope the lesson was interesting and beneficial for you. See you inshallah next time in the next lesson. Have a good day and goodbye.